Hey, Spencer here with Loop, and this is a quick video on how Loop integrates with Zoho. So right here you'll notice I'm in just the Zoho dashboard under the home menu. This is a sandbox account, so it's got just a bunch of test data in here, and so what we're going to go ahead and do is show you how all this works. So the main three takeaways that Loop does with Zoho is click to call, screen pops, and call logging. To jump right into it, what we're going to do is we are going to open up the Loop extension. We're going to go to settings and we're going to turn on Zoho. So one thing I want to show you real quick is we have these integration menus here. They're super awesome in the sense that it's a one-click single sign-in. So if you're running Loop Pro, you can come in here, find Zoho, turn it on, and you're going to get prompted with an auth message. So for context, Loop uses token-based authentication. And all that really means is instead of saving your Zoho CRM data inside of a third-party tool like Loop, we actually store permissions token from Zoho. So the other cool part about that is if you're using like Active Directory integration or G Suite integration or some sort of multi-factor authentication, it doesn't matter with Zoho because once you go through the authentication process, they send us an API back, which basically assigns us the token and gives us permission. Now, a lot just happened in that little click there, but the main takeaway is when you sign into Loop, we're pulling just that user's APIs. And so we have just that user's call logs. When you authenticate into one of our third-party tools like Zoho, we are then attaching to just that user's, right, just that seat's activity. So what's cool about that is we can now assign, for example, Spencer's activity to Spencer's account in Zoho. That's an important distinction because some platforms just actually take the call history from the PBX as a whole and dump it in as an activity, and therefore you can't assign who made what phone calls inside the CRM. The other takeaway I want to tell you before I move forward, I know I promised you that this would be quick, is that all of this happens in an AWS environment. Imagine that the Chrome extension is actually just a user interface and this is running in AWS. I tell you that because that means you can lose internet, walk away from your computer, basically take calls on your cell phone. As long as that call data shows up in your APIs, we will act on that activity to log it into the CRM. That basically means this isn't a Chrome app, right? This isn't a desktop app. This app isn't subject to what's happening at the computer level. Once this integration is complete, it's stored at the AWS level, and now that means any of the activity I do on this computer or other computers or no computers will actually still be logged. So to show you that, now that we're connected, I'm going to go ahead and find a contact here. I have built out my own call reporting dashboard, and we can explain that here in a second, but we're going to go ahead and grab this contact right here. This is Spencer. Now I want to preface this is going to be slightly confusing because Spencer is both a contact and Spencer is also the person who signed into Salesforce. I really should change the name of this so it doesn't look like Spencer called Spencer. But what we have here is just a typical contact, and then you can see the phone number here. Looks like it's in there twice. And then the way this works is we log calls as closed activities. Right, so a closed activity means something that has already taken place, not something that's scheduled to take place. And we only log calls after the call is ended. So once you hang up on the call, we get that API back into our system. And then once we digest that API, we look at the DIDs and see, or basically the phone numbers, and see if they match any phone numbers inside of Zoho. An important distinction is we don't create accounts, we don't create opportunities, we don't create contacts. Instead, we only update the activity in those contacts. So if the contact isn't in there or for some reason the phone numbers don't match, no activity will be logged. But once you start to get the activity inside of Zoho, it's extremely powerful because now every time you make a phone call, inbound, outbound, it will be tracked in here. If they call you, if you call them, just like your emails too. So kind of the purpose of a CRM is to track all customer data in a single pane of glass. You can track your emails, you can track your phone calls, and then what happens is that just becomes extremely powerful data. So if we come up to the account level, I believe you can see, yep, activities inside of the account level, because the contacts are under the accounts, and right, all the contacts roll up to the accounts. So then you can see who had a call with who, if it was inbound, if it was outbound, and all of this data is being stored automatically without you doing anything or the customer doing anything, right inside of Zoho. And so the other cool thing about this, and the reason people do this, is because once you have all of your data inside of that single pane of glass, you can build out any reports you want. And so, for example, you can build out reports based on today's phone calls, or yesterday's phone calls, or by accounts, or by opportunities, or even by CRM people. And then you could put that in a bar graph, right? And you could see inbound versus outbound. What's really crazy is, if you're running Zoho as a ticketing system, you can see your average talk times, right? You can build out almost an infinite amount of reporting inside of your native CRM based on the accounts that you talk to. What gets even crazier than that is you can then overlay it with like revenue or tickets, or like I said, talk time and other things like that. So the power of adding call logging into a CRM is extremely high. It's something that we used to sell at Vonage all the time. It was our go-to kind of sales process. Now, some of the other things I like to show people is that's how call logging works. Some of the other things are click-to-call. So the way our click-to-call works, we have about 5 different click-to-call settings. And I like to say it's industry-leading click-to-call because we kind of borrow some ideas from other vendors out there, but let me go ahead and show you. So the way this works is the Chrome extension looks at the code of the website, right? So it's not a direct integration with the Zoho APIs. Instead, we wait for the site to load and we look at the code. When we see a phone number, we can then manipulate that data. So first one being logo click to call. What this does is it looks for a phone number. When it finds a phone number, it puts the logo next to it, and then you can click to call that logo. Number 2 is link click to call, and so what this actually does is it turns it into a hyperlink, and it offers you that click to call button. And if you look in the bottom left hand corner, right below my head, which would be like right here, it says loop. What you're going to see is that's an override that sends that click to the extension, which then sends it to the NetSapiens to then dial out. Just a quick heads up, the way our click to call works, and pretty much any click to call works, is we send API call to the seat and we follow the answering rules. So we ring any registered device that you have kind of set up, and then once that happens, the seat will ring. So like your desk phone, your soft phone, your mobile phone, however you have it set up. When you answer it, it will then dial out. So it does do what we call a call confirmed. The other option is we have this hover box right here. Same thing, click to call. You can hover over any phone number in the browser and click it, it'll dial out. We have this quick call up here. And then when you hit enter on this, it'll dial out. And then lastly, so number 5, you can actually highlight any number in the browser, right click it, and we have a call option here. So we've got pretty much every version of click to call in existence that at least that we are aware of. So what's awesome about that is if you have people coming from other platforms that are used to a click to call method, likely we can support it. Last but not least, we have screen pops. I personally like to screen pop Zoho Zia search. We can screen pop right inside of Zoho CRM if you're using that, but the Zia search I like because what ends up happening is when a call comes in, you can actually just pop right up, and it looks like I need to refresh my call history here. Here is the call history. As you can see it right here in the Chrome extension. I just click refresh on the browser here, but I have Zia search, and let's say I get a phone call right now, ring ring, boom. What'll happen is it'll open up the browser in a new tab, and it'll run a search inside of Zoho, and when you search the Zia search, as you can see, it searches all the apps. If I come in here and look for my phone number inside of Zia search, by the way, those buttons that I'm clicking, we like to call those manual screen pops. So you can not only get screen pops on incoming calls, that automatically happen, but we also do screen pops, what we call manual screen pops. So showing you this real quick, this is why I like the Zia search. You can see all the data for contacts, docs, helps, tickets right inside here. And so this says it's a CRM user. And so if I click into the CRM, you can see that right here. We can also screen pop right into the CRM, but it's totally up to the customer and what they're trying to accomplish. And at a high level, that's how our integration works with Zoho. It's pretty clean. It does click to call, screen pops, and call logging. Once it's set up, it just kind of runs in the background. You'll be able to do click to call, you'll be able to get the screen pops, and it will automatically do your activity tracking on numbers that are already in your system. If you have any questions, hit our website at loopdb.com or shoot us an email. You can hit me at spencer@loopdb.com, and we also have a support email at support@loopdb.com. Thanks.